If you want to learn how to make a shirt like this with one of these, stick around and find out how.
So it begins.
Since this is primarily a drawing channel, I thought I should show you all how I drew this design. You don't need to use a Wacom tablet or any other digital tablet in order to use a gelli plate. You don't even need to know how to draw. There are a lot of examples across YouTube of others using high contrast photos or royalty-free clip art. I've seen people roll paint onto a gelli plate and do transfers using laser prints. I've even seen people use inkjet prints on glossy paper to transfer images directly without paint. I've tried both of those methods, and to me, it seems like you have to be a wizard to pull it off.
You shall not pass!
Maybe some of you saw some of my previous videos where I made block prints of Frodo, Sam, Merry, and Pippin in a medieval woodcut style. Long story short, I didn't really know what to do with them once I finished. I didn't think they would look great on a t-shirt, mostly because I found that small details are harder to transfer onto fabric with block prints. And as far as gelli plates go, this is what is called a monoprint. For those of you who aren't trained in the dark arts of linguistics,
it's some form of Elvish. I can't read it.
That means you can only get one print from each drawing. So, in case I screw this up, I don't want to spend a long time on the drawing. That's why this design is simpler than how I normally draw. And now that the drawing is done, it's time to, draw it again. I guess what I really mean is tracing it. And since gelli plates are transparent, I just slide the drawing right under it. Here I'm using an oil-based paint marker. They don't seem to hurt the plate, which itself is made out of some form of oil-based material. I've tried to use water-based paint markers like Poscas, Sharpies, and good old-fashioned paint brushes, but so far, I've found that this provides the best mix of opaqueness and control. You do have to position yourself directly over the plate to maintain the accuracy of the drawing, because the thickness of the plate distorts the image underneath slightly. Once I finish the line work with the pen, I fill in the broader black areas with acrylic paint. But it's kinda hard to see if I've missed any spots when working on this table. I do have a trick that makes this part easier, but I'm not gonna tell you what it is.
Alright then, keep your secrets.
I'm kidding. I just wanted to play that clip. I stick the plate on a window. And now that it's finished, I bring the plate out to dry. A word of caution, don't put the plate directly in the sun on a 100-degree day. I'll explain why later. Once the paint is dry, and that part is really important, the paint has to be dry. Because if you start to paint this transparent acrylic medium onto wet paint, it will smear and the design will be ruined. Keep in mind that the transparent layer will be visible slightly on the shirt. I just didn't want to color it in because I like black and white. Unlike the previous layer, you don't want this layer to be dry. In order to do the transfer, the top layer of the gelli plate has to be wet. I should mention that you could do multiple layers underneath it if you wanted to. But like I said earlier, I just don't know if this is going to work because I've never done this before, so I didn't want to waste a lot of time painting the drawing. I laid a white t-shirt flat and put a piece of plywood that I cut larger than my plate underneath. I also purposely drew the design slightly lower on the plate to ensure I had enough space between the drawing and the collar of the shirt. Some people say that you should put books on top of the plate or wait for it to dry all night.
At dawn, look to the east.
But since it's about the same temperature as the cracks of doom outside today, I only waited about an hour. Now is the moment of truth. I slowly pull the plate off of the shirt. If I could have done this over again, I would have let it dry in the air conditioning. While it's true that heat will dry the paint, too much heat will make the paint pull away from the shirt, which, as you can see, happened in various parts of my design. So what's the solution?
Cast it into the fire!
More heat. But this time, I'm using an iron with some parchment paper to heat set the paint. It feels exactly like an iron-on t-shirt transfer, if you know what I'm talking about. This last step shouldn't be necessary if you pull the plate in the right conditions. But since I didn't, I'm going back over the shirt with the same oil paint marker I used to draw the design on the plate. And there it is. Will I use a gelli plate to make a t-shirt again?
No.
Probably not. Even though it's a lot more work to carve a linoleum block, I like my results better making t-shirts that way. And also I can make moldable prints, unlike the mono print. I can't get the blacks to be as black as I could with the jelly plate, but I've heard that using the speedy carved blocks works better on fabric. They are literally giant erasers. But I'll save that for the next video, so stay tuned.
I think I'm quite ready for another adventure.
Oh yeah, and you know how I said you don't want to put your jelly plate directly into the sun? I think I permanently melted one side of it. Stop the drawing!